Mr. Weber, could you read the call?
You are hereby notified in accordance with Section 3.10 of the Charter of the City of Elyria, Ohio, that a special meeting of City Council will be called for Wednesday, November 18, 2009 at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers. A special meeting is called to consider the following. A resolution, first reading, a resolution supporting the Mayor William M. Grace in the upcoming recall election. An ordinance, first reading, an ordinance pursuant to Elyria City Chapter Section 1904 to fix a day for the holding an election for the recall of William M. Grace, Mayor of the City of Elyria, Ohio, and declaring an election. And declaring an emergency. This special meeting has been called by Councilman E. Kenneth Burkhardt, Forrest L. Bullocks, Thomas G. Callahan, pursuant to Section 3.10 of the Charter of the City of Elyria, Ohio.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Weber. Could you start? Are there any resolutions?
Sponsored by the Rules Committee, a resolution supporting Mayor William M. Grace in the upcoming recall election.
Mr. President, I ask this resolution be passed on its first reading of suspension of rules.
Moved by Mr. Stewart.
Second.
Second by Mr. Callahan. Discussion?
Question?
Question on the motion.
I
Mr.
have
Craig?
some discussion.
Discussion?
You see in the first provision here, it says that the grounds alleged in the recall petition are unfounded. My question would be through you to the law director, are the grounds legally sufficient to support moving forward with the recall?
Mr. Can you direct that question?
I'd be glad to. The charter, when it comes to this question of recall, provides that the petition shall have a statement of grounds. There is no definition, detail as to what a statement of grounds consists of. So when I reviewed the petitions, I looked at them to determine 4 areas, and one of them was if there was a statement of grounds. I've also researched the Ohio law. There is an Ohio law that allows for recall. That Ohio law says a statement of reasons, and there's a case that says statement of reasons don't even have to be true. So in looking at the law and looking at the charter and looking at the petitions, I determined that as long as there was a statement of grounds there, under the charter and under the duty of the clerk of council, for purposes of passing on and determining if these could go to the Board of Elections for a determination if there was valid signatures, then on the face, this was a valid petition and it could go forward. The clerk of council cannot make a quasi-judicial decision in determining whether or not those grounds are sufficient grounds, and that is really up to a court of law to make a determination. But for purposes of our charter and going forward, I determined the qualification and requirement was met. I don't know if that totally answers your question, Mr. Craig, but that was my reason, and that's how I went about doing it.
Through you, Mr. President, to the law director, this ordinance says that the grounds alleged in the recall petition are unfounded. What does that mean?
Well, that's there. That's what the statement is in there, and I can't tell you what that means.
Can anybody answer that question?
It's unfounded.
What are the grounds and how are they unfounded? I didn't hear any discussion on this in the committee meeting, so I'm assuming it was discussed somewhere for someone to come up with this word. I'd like to know what it means.
What does unfounded mean to you? I mean, you get out of which.
What are the grounds, Mr. President? I'd like to hear from the committee.
The grounds for the resolution? Is that what you're asking?
What are the grounds for the recall and how are they unfounded? That's what I'd like to hear.
Well, Mr. Stewart, do you?
Well, the grounds for in this is as far as what the claims. This, the mayor has not committed any crime, any felony, any unjust reason, malfeasance for this recall election, and in my opinion, He was elected in 2007 by the majority vote, and I feel, in my opinion, that he should be able to serve this term out. And then in 2011 is when he runs again, if he so chooses. The voters have a choice then. And in my opinion, I think that's the course that should be taken. They did do their, within their right. They did go out and get the signatures that were required under this charter. And, in my opinion, I feel that this should just go as far as letting him finish out his term. And this is a blatant waste of taxpayers' money. It's $50,000 that we're talking about here. And during budget meetings that we had talked about, that you had brought up as far as wasteful money, this is a waste of money. This is $50,000. And I think that is a waste of money that we're having to spend on to recall this mayor. And that is my opinion.
Through you, Mr. President, I asked what the grounds were alleged in the recall petition. I didn't think that there was a crime or a felony or any kind of unjust actions or malfeasance alleged, but I'm not sure. That's why I was asking.
Well, according to the resolution, it's unfounded. That's according to the resolution.
I'm just asking what the grounds are in the petition that were found to be unfounded.
The committee...
Does the petition say that a crime was committed or that there was malfeasance, or?
As far as I know, no.
But what are the grounds? That's what I'm asking. If you're saying that the grounds for the petition are unfounded, what are the grounds that we're saying are unfounded? I just want to know what that is.
Well, that's determined by the committee, that they felt that the grounds for the petition by the committee, not by the grounds of the petition or the referendum, but by the committee. And the committee passes that on to this council. This council makes a decision. And that's what we're about to vote on.
No, I understand that. The grounds, this resolution says the grounds in the recall petition. I'm asking what are the grounds that were set forth in the recall petition?
And by the committee, the Rules Committee, they felt that they were unfounded. By the Rules Committee.
I understand that the Rules Committee found that they were unfounded, but I don't know what the grounds were that they found to be unfounded.
Mr. President, would you like me to read you the grounds?
Could you please?
Go ahead and read the grounds.
These are the grounds as stated in the petition submitted to Art Weber, Clerk of Council, by the committee asking for the recall. Since his election to a term beginning January 1st, 2008, William M. Grace has failed to provide the leadership necessary to ensure the public health, safety, and welfare. He has presided over the financial mismanagement of the State Route 57 project. He has failed to ensure the public safety by and through his management decisions within the City of Elyria Fire Department, and he has failed and refused to resign and rein in excessive and unnecessary administrative costs in a troubled financial time.
Okay.
Those are the grounds as stated in the petition.
Okay, those are the grounds that were unfounded. Is that clear now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Call for Mr. Gibbs.
Just take another
Yeah.
way, Ken, just try to be a little bit level-headed about it. But I mean, I personally think that council needs to be neutral on beating the drum for or against unseating Mayor Grace, okay, in regards to that. I mean, that's my opinion in regards. I'm sure it probably would surprise you and some of you up here, but I've never signed the petition for the recall, and we've had our differences over the years. And I really always felt that this dispute between the citizens and the mayor's management style is their dispute, and it shouldn't be a fight that we're involved in regards to that. I know Mr. Stewart mentioned, of course, the dollar amount for the cost of this election, but all I would have to say to that is that's the cost of democracy. There's a certain cost of democracy, and that's what this is all about. So I just want to say my thoughts, Ken.
And I appreciate your thoughts on that. But it's more than against the mayor. I think it's a $50,000 expenditure of funds against the city. And so it goes past the mayor's position. It comes to council. I mean, we represent the city. And that's my standing on it. So if there's no other, yes, Mr. Craig.
The third provision, the third whereas provision, where council opposes the removal of the mayor who was legally elected. I'm wondering if that doesn't run afoul. Is it legal to support the issue of whether or not an official is elected, the person is elected? And it kind of goes along with what Mr. Gibbs is saying, that council really shouldn't get involved in an issue whether or not, you know, somebody gets elected or not. I'm wondering, is that even legal to do that?
I would have to defer that to Mr. Schilling.
I would